The Umfakrumpf of my Drifting Amalgams universe have declared extraplanetary visitors unwelcome. To enforce this, they need some kind of space observatory. Or station. If I'm going to write a futuristic space station into their world, I need to learn more about present-day space observation. Hi, I'm Casey Hudson and I write sci-fi novels. Let's talk a bit about real-world space observation. Then, I'll show you how I'm transforming my research into a science fiction space station. To date, NASA lists 17 space observatories on their website. Consisting of satellites, telescopes, and probes, these space explorers measure various phenomena across the light spectrum and send images back to Earth. Modern space observation and technology is roughly 3 decades old, but its ancestor, the Orbiting Astronomical Observatory, was first launched April 8, 1966. NASA's OAO program had 2 successful satellites, of 4, and is the foundation of Hubble, Chandra, and Swift. Space observation began with satellites and probes, but the desire to explore and live in space was so prevalent around the world that it was only a matter of time before space observation meant livable space observatories. That's where the International Space Station comes in. The ISS has become the largest human-made object ever to orbit Earth, and each piece was launched and assembled in space. This includes solar arrays and boosters to maintain orbit. The International Space Station holds up to 13 crew at any given time, but the interior is pretty cramped. The tight quarters don't stop them from conducting the scientific experiments they went there for, though. There are small labs throughout the structure, and thanks to the common problem of losing objects in this gravity-free environment, everything, everywhere, is Velcroed to the wall. If you want to see the interior for yourself, there's an amazing video from 2016 of astronaut Sunita Williams giving a tour. I'll put a link in the description below. So, what can this mean for writing a science fiction space station? Futuristic space stations have been done and redone, so I think the biggest piece that I'd want to bring to this concept is, how is the experience of living in space unique for this society? Because Umfakrumpf Nation is a confederacy run by the military, their stations are imperative for space vigilance. A mission this big requires that these science fiction space stations be bigger and more permanent than our present-day space observatories. Big enough even to function as a system of orbiting states. Like the International Space Station, these stellar states can construct and repair their own equipment, like solar arrays and probes, but they need to requisition military resources to complete their builds. They also need military permission to file orbital plans or risk having satellites shot down from the surface. As a smaller detail, I like this idea of a gravity-free environment. For those who want to visit the planet, exercise will be mandated, forcing adherence to at least one of the central government's laws. Additionally, with everything velcroed or bolted to the structure, the residents of these science fiction space stations will have a subtle but constant reminder that everything essentially belongs to the station and, by extension, the militaristic government. In a previous video, I mentioned that the technology characteristic template I created for myself is designed to accommodate builds for advanced societies. Since the space observatory technology of Umfakrumpf Nation is more advanced than the Stone Age Stronovula, I'll go ahead and show some of the aspects of the sheet that are meant for a complex culture. The cost of the science fiction space stations I've envisioned would be extensive, so I've written the majority of the stellar state citizens as military personnel who receive room and board as part of their stipends. And to make sure there aren't too many lungs breathing the air, I've decided that the government controls the population through forced removal of unapproved families. As with beings from Earth, the microgravity of the stations causes serious side effects for those born on the planet Aponga. Controversial? It is for a government rumored to have artificial gravity technology that it chooses not to employ. And that bit about space vigilance? Officially, stellar state citizens are not allowed to have contact with beings from other planets. But the government can't police everybody, and Umfakrumpf Nation sometimes struggles to support and resource everyone. Who would notice a few unapproved families leaving the station on cloaked ships? And how would a government so far away learn about every contraband item that mysteriously appeared? With more complicated social systems comes more intrigue. Until next time, stay curious.